Have you ever seen an ad for a $300 4K television and you get to the store to see they're out of $300 TVs but have some nice $2,000 ones to purchase? That's a classic tactic known as bait and switch, something we're about to see the WWE loves to do to its fans. Just what is bait and switch? No, we're not talking about Jerry the King Lawler's dating habits, but the following. A deceptive method of selling by which customers attracted to a store by sale items are told either that the advertised bargain item is out of stock or is inferior to a higher priced item that is available. Likewise, when a wrestling promotion promises a steel cage world championship match on television only to replace it with a midget match, it's technically bait and switch. However, wrestling promotions have long learned how to avoid any imperial entanglements by adding the proviso, the card is subject to change to their tickets. While wrestling promotions can legally pull a bait and switch, the repercussions can be harsh, with fans tuning out of TV and skipping live events and/or pay-per-views. This is something that the WWE is now suffering for as ticket sales and ratings continue to drop. Well, let's look at some shocking figures. In May of 2009, Bryan Alvarez asked his readers to document the WWE's bait and switch tactics. When Alvarez tallied his figures, his results were shocking. This is from April 2018 to April 2019, over 1 year. For this, WWE did a total of 237 announcements on their social media for both Raw and SmackDown. Out of those 237 announcements, only 95 of them took place. Others were either entirely cancelled or modified. As we're about to see, the WWE does this with its live events, weekly television, and pay-per-views, making for disgruntled customers. Let's look at the Royal Rumble 2019 for example. The 2019 Royal Rumble featured not one, but two bait and switch moves by the WWE. First, they advertised John Cena for the event, despite knowing Cena would be taking time off to begin his role in the film Playing with Fire. Brad Shepard discussed this on his Oh You Didn't Know podcast, revealing, "So there was the story of John Cena being advertised for the Royal Rumble, and then right before the Royal Rumble, they announced that he was injured and would not be in the Royal Rumble match. There was a lot of speculation on was this a work, was this a shoot? You know it was a work to sell tickets, etc. I spoke to a source in WWE, and they confirmed that Cena's injury was not only never legit, he was never legitimately injured. But it's dead on that WWE falsely advertised Cena knowing he would never show up to the Royal Rumble just to move tickets. That is confirmed. As you might know, Lars Sullivan was slated to work an angle where he injured Cena, but Sullivan reportedly got cold feet and was nowhere to be found when it was time to debut on the main roster. Whatever the situation, the WWE knew Cena would be unavailable, yet chose to advertise him before taking him out of the match with a kayfabe ankle injury. The WWE also hyped a Braun Strowman vs Brock Lesnar match at the Rumble for Lesnar's Universal Championship. Like the situation with Cena, the WWE knew Strowman would be unable to compete due to elbow surgery. During an episode of the Wrestling Observer Live, Dave Meltzer pointed out, Brock Lesnar vs Finn Balor was always the main event of the show. The WWE hoped to sell more tickets with a Strowman vs Lesnar match than they did with the match that fans ultimately got, Finn Balor vs Lesnar. But to be honest, the latter sounds better. What about WWE's historic all-female pay-per-view Evolution in 2018? Here, the WWE advertised a dream match between WWE Hall of Famer Trish Stratus and Alexa Bliss. The match was highly anticipated as fans look forward to seeing two of the finest workers in the world, as well as a clash between a legend and a superstar looking to prove she is second to none. Regrettably for fans, the WWE knew ahead of time that Little Miss Bliss could not compete due to her injury. According to Cageside Seats, a singles match between Alexa Bliss and Trish Stratus was advertised 2 months before Evolution, but WWE apparently always planned for it to be changed to a tag team match. The misleading advertising was said to be done because they wanted to announce a major match to help move tickets for the event. The WWE chose to replace the match with a tag match involving Trish Stratus and Lita taking on Mickie James and Alicia Fox, with Alexa Bliss in James and Fox's corner. The WWE's desire to sell tickets makes this the obvious reason for the bait and switch, as it's difficult envisioning the replacement match as superior to the original. There's also been a few TV changes. As we just noted, the WWE routinely advertises a match for Raw or SmackDown Live, only to change things the night of the show. While injuries can occur leading to a change of plan, we're talking about the WWE changing a match they've announced with no intention of ever holding it. One of the most recent examples is the 3rd June 2019 Raw, when Paul Heyman promised his client Brock Lesnar would cash in his Money in the Bank briefcase against Universal Champion Seth Rollins. On 31st May 2019, Heyman tweeted, "Ladies and gentlemen, please be advised my client Brock Lesnar hereby cashes in the WWE Money in the Bank contract. #Raw." Lesnar did not cash in the briefcase despite having Rollins at his mercy after beating him down. This angered fans as it was yet another bait and switch situation. As one commentator observed, Vince and company trying to build intrigue for the WWE universe, but with how they try to do it under this platform, it does more harm than good. When fans think they're going to see something big only for it to never be intended to happen, that will cause certain fans to stop watching altogether rather than ratings being higher. Not to mention Lesnar was booked to look like a fool last night in all honesty. Not long before this, the WWE shocked fans tuning in to watch the Raw the night after WrestleMania 35. Newly crowned Universal Champion Seth Rollins and newly crowned WWE Champion Kofi Kingston agreed to an impromptu winner-takes-all match in the main event. But instead of that happening, the bar interrupted the bout, leading to a tag match involving Rollins and Kingston taking on Sheamus and Cesaro. Needless to say, the fans on hand were furious and began bouncing a beach ball around, as well as letting loose with chants of CM Punk and AEW. While it makes sense that the WWE wouldn't book such a match with no build-up or hype, they shouldn't have announced it at all, as it obviously left a bad taste in the fans' mouths. This doesn't seem to concern the WWE as they continue their bait-and-switch tactics. Things aren't limited to Raw either, with SmackDown, or should we say Raw on Tuesday nights, teasing a match the WWE never intended to deliver. On 29th May 2018, the WWE promised a match on SmackDown between Daniel Bryan and Samoa Joe. As anyone who's seen the two wrestle during their earlier years in Ring of Honor, any match between the two is going to be a classic. However, the WWE chose to have Big Cass attack Bryan, scrubbing the match from the show. There's also been some house show hijinks. Arguably the most egregious practice is when the WWE announces a card for a live event, aka a house show, knowing a performer cannot appear. For some fans, live events are the only chance they get to see their favourite WWE superstar up close and personal, as TV shows and pay-per-views don't go through their market. This is one of the biggest betrayals a company can make towards its fans, and it's no surprise when it leads to fans stopping from supporting live events. While the bait and switch tactics can do more harm than good, some wrestlers have defended the practice as part of the business. In 2014, Dean Ambrose defended the bait and switch at Battleground, where his match against Seth Rollins failed to take place when Triple H ejected Ambrose from the arena for fighting Rollins earlier backstage. He mentioned, "You never know what you're gonna see, cards subject to change always." There are some fans that might have been a little disappointed, but I think in the long run, nobody will really remember it as much as a negative as they might have instantly thought they would. That night definitely upped the intensity of the rivalry between me and Seth Rollins. If anything, even though there was a lot of craziness in me getting kicked out of the building, and fans never got to see the match, one of the things I take away from it is that at the beginning of the night, they wanted to see the match, but they weren't all that vocal, and they didn't really realize how much they wanted to see it, but when they realized they weren't going to get it, the whole place started chanting, "Let them fight," and the whole place realized just how much they wanted to see it. I think the way it worked out shone a bigger spotlight on me and Seth and our rivalry than if we had just gone out there and wrestled personally. The WWE's overused bait and switch moves clearly negates any benefits they might receive from occasional uses. Furthermore, their use of bait and switch to sell tickets for a match they know they can't deliver on either borders on fraud or is fraudulent. However, it's nothing new. Vince McMahon has repeatedly shown he has no trouble fooling the fans, even when he knows far in advance that a superstar is unable to compete. Such was the case at the 1999 Survivor Series, when Stone Cold Steve Austin was scheduled to face WWF Champion Triple H and The Rock in a triple threat match. Unfortunately, Austin wasn't able to wrestle as he was about to undergo neck surgery to correct the injury he suffered at 1997's SummerSlam match. Nonetheless, they still advertised Austin and heavily promoted him, knowing full well he couldn't appear. The WWF wrote Austin out of the match by having him run down by a car driven by an unknown assailant. But what are your thoughts on these bait and switch tactics? Do you think it's outright false advertising, or do you agree with Dean Ambrose in the sense that it may help feuds? Let us know in the comments down below, subscribe if you haven't already, follow us on Instagram and Twitter, and I'll see you next time with some more wrestling content.